I'm saying at the end of the day, what is our job, right? Our job is to serve our clients at the highest level possible. And in my opinion, it is very hard to do that when you're not willing to take the time to have conversations, have relationships, take the time to build that rapport over a certain amount of time, and really do what has created our businesses in the first place.
Because the management and transparency is what's very important. So once you submit a referral, you're going to have your own Home Advantage account, and it's going to tell you where everything sits. So if you have 10 referrals that you've sent into the network, it's going to give you all 10 referrals. It's going to tell you every milestone that client is sitting in, whether they're touring homes, whether they're in escrow. And you now can manage through the Home Advantage application as far as what your pipeline looks like for the referrals that you've sent. And so it's pretty sophisticated, and it's all click of a button, guys.
Welcome for those of you on the back end of Zoom, and for those of you joining us on the Facebook in the LabCoatAgents. The question for today is, should Instagram and AI, we'll say ChatGPT, should they coexist? And I think, Michelle, I'm gonna share my thoughts real fast on just AI in general. I think I have a different perspective than a lot of other people about AI, because I'm looking at it from both sides of the fence. And I think everybody looks at it like, oh my God, you got to do it. And it's going to be so amazing. And it's going to make life more efficient and easier. And I am trying to put on a different lens and look at it from a different perspective of how could this potentially be bad? And so I'm curious to see where this conversation goes today, because I have a feeling you're going to have a strong opinion about this, and you're going to share it with us. And then I'm going to try to poke holes in it, or maybe agree with you. So tell us, should Instagram and AI work together?
Yes, the answer to the question, in my opinion, is yes and no. There are specific aspects to Instagram where AI, I think, serves a purpose and can. Thank you. And I also believe that there are more parts on the no side. There are more no's than yeses, is how I'll say that. And there, in my opinion, I don't know if you want to just like get into the aspect of it, as far as the whys and the don'ts and all of that, specifically out of the gate. But the reality is that there are places for all of this new software, and really there's a place for it, and there's a place where it doesn't belong. I'll say it that way.
So, okay, let's go back to the basics for a second and talk a little bit about how you advise someone to be using ChatGPT as it relates to their social strategy, and very specifically to Instagram. How are you advising your clients or anyone who wants to attack Instagram to be using ChatGPT?
There are three specific ways that I would recommend it. Three specific places that I think you can use it. Those three places are designed or kind of focused around the content aspect, in my opinion, as far as not the execution of content, but the how do I get to an idea for my content, if that makes sense. So what those three places are, to get specific, if you will, first and foremost, is it's an opportunity to come up with unique ways to say the same thing, right? So we noticed, Jeff, you and I both, as content creators, we're on this platform all the time, all day, every day. There are a lot of people that are posting the same stuff over and over and over and over and over again. And a lot of it becomes white noise, because everybody's posting the same variation of the same thing. And so the problem with that is, again, there's no differentiator. There's no kind of uniqueness to any of it. And I believe that ChatGPT, if used properly in this, or ChatGPT and AI as a whole, if used properly, you can use it as an opportunity to help you find unique ways to say the same thing, inserting power words, all types of different things that you can use it to spit back out. So it can create kind of this idea generator, if you will. I think a lot of people get stuck in the, I don't know what I'm supposed to say, I don't know what I'm supposed to post about kind of aspect of this. And so that can certainly solve that problem for some of them. I think secondarily, I think it's a springboard for topics if you need multiple. So what that means is, if you have to write a value series, which is, something that I've talked about on here with you many, many, many times, if you have to write a value series where you have to come up with 5 bullet points underneath this one topic. So let's just say, for example, you're creating an entire value series on can somebody use the VA loan more than once, right? That's the topic. And you have to come up with 5 bullet points underneath that topic. And you're sitting there kind of thinking like, hold on, let me figure out what my 5 might be. You could type that into ChatGPT or any of these AI softwares and say, I need 5 different ideas or 5 different bullet points about whether or not you can use a VA loan more than once, and it'll spit it out for you. And then what you have to do is you have to go in there and obviously put your person into that. You have to put your personality, you have to put the stories of your experience and your clients and all of that into that. But it does create this kind of springboard for ideas, because I think a lot of people get stuck there. And then the third one is it's a great resource for how-tos. Right. So if you've ever been stuck with something and you're like, I don't know how to do something, I don't know how to do this, or what's the best video editing app for this, or whatever that might be. I think if you type that in and you let ChatGPT or any of these AI software send you in the right direction, it will. Right. So it's going to send you directly to where the solution is, which shortens the distance between I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing and what I need to be doing, or how to do it, I should say.
In other words, it's really alleviating because I hear this a lot is I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to say, but basically you just need to come up with the general concept, ask the question, let it spit out the meat and potatoes. So now you essentially have a baseline script to work from or to post from that ChatGPT will create for you.
Yep. And it gives you the opportunity to say, here's my script, here's my framework. Obviously I have to put my person into it. And Tina, I think that's how you say your name. But thank you so much for that comment, because the Tom Brady situation is just one of many, right? I have one of my employees brought up to me actually that someone committed suicide because ChatGPT told him to, right? And so there's lots of stories about situations like this, right? Where people are utilizing it improperly. So that's scary. That's a bad example of ChatGPT and any of these softwares. Obviously the Tom Brady situation is an unfortunate one as well. But as far as the context of our conversation, I just believe that talking about the negative is important. Jeff, where's your heart at with that? Because I think that's something to talk about before I think I talk about in my opinion, the negative on the social side.
Ask the question again.
Where's your heart at with like the negative, right? So Tina's saying we need to bring up the negative and we need to talk about that.
Okay. There's several places, first of all, and I'll start with the scariest. Personally, like the voice AI is going to create a massive, beyond anything I think we've ever seen, slew of scams. You had situations. In fact, I remember this, and some of you might remember this, where, there was people going door to door and they were preying on, older people. This happened to my grandma. They were talking about how they're going to fix roofs, and they were getting checks from people and they'd never show up again. This is just an example of one of the many ways you can scam. Somebody texts you and says, I've gotten into your computer. If you don't send me $3,000, I'm going to release everything that I've got. It's just a scam, right? But now you've got these voice AI where, Michelle, you can go into this voice AI and you can call my dad and use the voice AI to sound exactly like me. My dad won't know any different. You can say, I just got arrested. I don't know what's going on. This is such BS, but I need you to wire me $5,000 so I can get out of jail. Please do it right away. And you're going to get people that just aren't familiar with this kind of stuff that get completely duped because voice AI is so spot on. Like I can be Morgan Freeman. I could be Tom Brady. I can be anybody I want to be. It's going to be that part's going to be nuts, but that's not necessarily related to social per se.
No, but it is something it does bring up, and I'm really grateful for this conversation at this time in society right now as a whole, because I think here's the ultimate point, right? Is in the real estate profession, in the mortgage profession, in general, right? Everything typically when you're running a business is about saving time, saving money, making things faster, making things more efficient. Oh my gosh, I just want to be able to make more money doing less work, right? It's like, that's the conversation that's a litmus test of what everybody's talking about, right? It's kind of the temperature, if you will. And this is a proof in the pudding example, in my opinion, of where things have just gone way too far when it comes to simplifying and making our lives in our profession easier. What do I mean, right? Like, what am I saying by saying that? I'm saying at the end of the day, what is our job, right? Our job is to serve our clients at the highest level possible. And in my opinion, it is very hard to do that when you're not willing to take the time to have conversations, have relationships, take the time to build that rapport over a certain amount of time, and really do what has created our businesses in the first place. I mean, Jeff, you and I, our relationship was built on social, and we just talked and talked and talked and slowly got to know each other over time, right? And that's what people need to be doing in their businesses, not automating their DMs or not automating their messages or automating all this stuff, because it makes it easier on them. Because at the end of the day, for everyone, it's not about you, it's about your client, right? And it's about the experience that your client has. And so that's my problem with a lot of the AI is, does it serve a purpose in certain aspects of our world? Yes. Should you be using voice AI? In my opinion, no. The only person that's going to use my voice is me, right? And that's really important to me. Now, somebody might push back on that, and I'm open to hearing it. But that's where I want to start.
What purpose it will have? Yeah. Well, and to go back to your question, I mean, and I follow Elon Musk. I watch a lot of his stuff just because, he's on the forefront, whether you like him, agree with him, disagree with him, whatever. But he has been warning about AI for a long time. And by the way, he's one of the original investors in OpenAI. And so he's a big part of this. But I read recently that he actually warned, hold on, my door is going to slam shut. He warned the Obama administration that they need to start putting regulations in place about AI. And I think that most of the government has just they didn't really know what the hell people are talking about. Now that it's here, I think Elon has been spot on. Like, there needs to be some sort of regulation. And now it's just an open forum and everyone, like, I have a bunch of friends, you might be doing this, Business Video School is doing this, like, they're building their own AI component because it's actually fairly easy to do. And if you don't put some sort of regulation, you're going to have the voice AI. The cloning is already happening. And Tina, you mentioned it. That's what happened to Tom Brady. I was just glancing at it. And I've been seeing people cloning themselves through AI. Let's just talk about the most basic form of this, Michelle, which is, yes, it's great in some lights, but it's going to remove authenticity from social. And so I believe that I think as fast as AI is going to come into our world,
it's going to be out.
Well, no, not at all. But I think,
I think it's going to be shut down by the people that matter.
Maybe
it's not maybe. Shut down as far as being usable. Like, people will be able to use it. I don't mean like Clubhouse, where like all of a sudden Clubhouse was on the scene and it was gone. What I mean is, people are going to read through the lines very quickly.
Yeah.
And people are going to recognize that this is not the best and most authentic way to do business. And that ties into ultimately the point of why I wanted to have this conversation with you on this platform, because I believe that when we are talking about social media, when we are talking about Instagram, which is my platform of choice, right? When you are talking about these places, what is our job on these, in our DMs, in our private Facebook messages? It's to create connection. It's to connect with someone who might be an ideal client for us, and to build a relationship first, then ask for business, right? Or don't even ask for business at all. Let the business come to you based off the relationship. AI can't do that for you, in my opinion. So there's other aspects to it, but where, in my opinion, there's two places specifically that any form of AI, ChatGPT, you name it, whatever, should not exist. And that's engagement, meaning the engagement that you go out and actively do, and caption writing, right? I don't believe that there's ever going to be somebody that is better at writing a caption about an experience or something that has happened to me than me, right? Meaning, if I'm telling a story about a client, or if I'm telling a story about an experience that I've gone through, or if I'm telling a story about an emotion that I've felt, right? Like, even if it was, I got in the car and I had this enormous amount of gratitude, right? Like, I'm here in Salt Lake City seeing my best friend who I haven't seen in real life in forever, right? And also working. And there was that moment of, oh my gosh, this is how I feel. Can ChatGPT write that emotion for me? No, I don't believe they can. Right. So I don't think it should be in my caption writing. But more importantly than caption writing, I believe that it doesn't exist in engagement. Right. So when you and I are actively going out on the platform, sending messages to one another, watching our stories, leaving comments, how in the world is ChatGPT going to be able to do that on an authentic level the way that I would?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think I can.
well, I agree. And that's kind of what I was going to say, is that I believe that when you said as fast as it's come in, it's going to go out. No, I don't believe it's going to go out. I believe that the Googles and the Facebooks and the Instagrams are going to build the algorithm's also going to learn. And so I think the algorithm is going to quickly be able to figure out at some point what is completely AI bot derived versus human. And so I think there's going to be a certain element of, there's also going to be an element of dilution, because the ChatGPT, you and I there's going to be a lot of people asking very similar questions. And I think it's going to spit out a very similar or exact same answer. And those of us looking for the easy street, the easy button, because most humans are going to cut, paste, post, right? Cut, paste, read, post, right? And so I think you just got to keep an open mind to this, to realize that I believe the platforms are going to end up rewarding you because it's going to recognize authentic human writing, reading, talking versus what was generated by a bot. And so, although I'm personally playing with it, not using it much, but I'm a weird person that likes to write scripts. I have a creative mind. I enjoy creating my own content. And for most people, that's a muscle that doesn't exist. And so now AI is creating an opportunity for them. But I think if you're not careful and you allow it to take over and makes you super lazy, although you're creating, I think there will be a time where you end up becoming suppressed. That's just my prediction. And so if you get so accustomed to using it and you forget how to use the thing that God gave you inside of your head, the brain that you have, it could end up rendering you obsolete because you forgot how to think for yourself.
You forgot how to be a freaking person,
Yeah.
right? Like,
yeah,
you forgot how to be a person that knows how to have a conversation with another human. And I have a 20-month-old as of today. And I gotta tell you, he's standing over here staring at me through the door. And like, it's hard for me as a mom and as somebody who's dealing with this in, the traditional day and age of, are we taking creative freedom away from our kids' brains? Like, I think everything is so automated, right? And it's so like, here's this toy that like tells you how to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What happened to just like giving them a bunch of toys that they play with on the floor and like create on your own? Like, play and imagine on your own. You don't need a thing to tell you the cow lives in the field. Like, let the kid figure that out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's the biggest thing on all of this, is that we cannot allow that to happen. When it comes to engagement on Instagram, I have made my brand right, the psychology of Instagram and the thought goes into that, and being able to change the conversation around how do we engage and how do we prospect on Instagram. And that prospecting is done by us as humans. It's centered around having conversations that makes the person on the other end of it feel like you hear them, you see them, you feel connected to them. And you're like, wow, like, I just really like Jeff. I just really like hanging out with Jeff. Like, why wouldn't I want to be around whatever he's doing? Or why wouldn't I want to hire him for XYZ? Right? Because that's what matters. And again, if you're trying to do engagement, like, let's say you create this crazy AI software that does all of your engagement for you. So anytime someone sends you a DM, it automatically responds as if it were you, using only phrases as if it, like, things that only you would say. You're not the one doing it. So what's going to happen when you get on the phone with that person?
Mm-hmm.
Is that conversation going to flow the same way that it just did in your DMs? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so the power of utilizing Instagram and the power of utilizing engagement, in my opinion, is that when you get on the phone with them, It doesn't feel hard. It doesn't feel like a sales call. It doesn't feel like you're trying to get to know this person and kind of getting through the weeds. Like by the time you're on the phone with them, that person is already bought into you. And you know what the relationship was leading up to that. And again, this is where my point was with all of this is everything is about saving time, saving money, making things faster, making things easier. What if some things are not meant to be made faster, right? What if some things are not meant to be done quicker or to save you money, right? Or like, hey, take this one thing off my checklist. Like, let's just have someone else do it, right? Like, I don't know. It's just, I'm going to be the one to push back on it and say, there's so much value in us showing up as us and not allowing someone else to do that for us, whether it's a software or not. And if everything's about saving time and money, why are we putting so much time and money into something that actually takes us away from being authentic?
Yeah. Well, moderation. I think that's the key word here. Is that when you really think about social, it's, again, authenticity wins. Relatability is what connects you to more people. That's, to me, where most, especially realtors, just do it all wrong. You're if I go and review your Instagram feed, it's 100% real estate. And that's just not interesting. That's not why somebody opened up the app this morning, or while they were on the toilet, or while they were in public transit, or while they were at the office, right? It wasn't to go, oh, let me see what the latest, what your latest listing is, or let me see your latest closing photo, or the Monday market update. They don't care. And so it's understanding that, and then applying relatable types of content that make you human, that actually pull people closer to you. And yeah, a chat bot, a bot of any kind, will never be able to create relatable content.
What's the one word that you and I both have about what we do, right? Like, you are very blank about what you do. I am very blank about what I do, right?
Yeah,
What's that word?
Passionate.
Right? Can any form of AI exude the passion that you have for what you do, or the passion that I have for what I do, right? I literally just got done speaking at an event and raced home so I could be on here with you, because I'm so excited about this, right? Like, I'm so excited about making sure that people understand that we have to change the conversation, and somebody's got to stand up and say, nope, like, there's a place and there's a good thing about this. And yes, I will utilize it where it makes sense. But the feeling that I have when I help a client actually convert in their DMs, and when they send me a text message and say, Michelle, I just got a lead, or when they send me a text message and say, I, for the longest time, was afraid to be personal on Instagram, or afraid to talk about personal things because I thought nobody would care. But you made me realize, like, that there are people on Instagram that do care about what I want to do, or do care about what I do in my free time, or do care about the fact that I XYZ insert in the blank, right? And to, like, on the engagement side, I had somebody just today, literally at this event, tell me, I have not done any engagement on Instagram because it was been so hard. I felt like I had to talk to everybody. Like, I thought that was what I was supposed to do. I thought I was just supposed to show up, post, and talk to everybody. And I was like, what? No, girl, like, talk to the people who make you feel alive. Like, talk to the people who make you feel like you can connect with them. And that's it, right? And how can a chatbot differentiate between somebody that this girl would resonate with based off of who she is and the personality she has and the fire she has and the passion she has, versus somebody that doesn't, and they can't.
Yeah. I agree. But so, okay, that we've focused on probably the different topic that not a lot of webinars are focusing on. Everybody's focusing on the efficiencies and the opportunities and the things that it can do, which, by the way, it can do a lot of amazing things. Let's talk about the opportunity now on kind of merging the two together.
Yeah. And again, the opportunity comes back to several things, and I'm not opposed to using AI on certain aspects of my business, right? Like, I said that, and I will continue to say that. Things like automating our email drips, right? And being able to write out things and create email copy based off of how they entered our lead funnel, right? Like, certain things like that. Yes, I think that something else can write some of that, or some of it can formulate some of it, and then my assistant or my COO can go in and finish the rest of that. Again, I think it comes back down to simplifying processes. I think ChatGPT and all of these other platforms can help us do that. But most importantly, specifically when it comes to social, I believe that the biggest opportunity with ChatGPT is, or I keep saying ChatGPT because that's like the one platform that's in my mind, but
It's the most,
Jasper AI,
it's the
there's
most
like a
popular. It's the most, it's the
yeah,
most
I mean,
far
Jasper
along.
AI is another big one. Like there's a ton of them, right?
Mhm.
But I lost my train of thought there. But specifically on where the opportunity is, right? And what I believe the biggest place is for it is for people to rip this Band-Aid off. And at SocialCon, we talked about this, like just post it, right? A lot of people we were like, just post it.
Yep.
And that's an amazing statement, and that's the truth. And I think ChatGPT gets a lot of people closer to just post it in certain ways, right? So if they're like, well, how do I talk about a VA loan in a different way?
Yeah.
Type in the ChatGPT.
Yeah.
How can I write a caption, or how can I
Yeah.
record, or what can I say in a video that about a VA loan that's different, right? And
Yeah.
I did this, I tested it just out of pure curiosity. And when it came out, it said, did you know that being able to use the VA loan is like a superpower for a veteran? And you're like, interesting, that's a unique way of saying that, right?
Mhm.
How can I create a story around a client who was able to utilize the VA loan and that created XYZ feeling for him, right? That person now feels like he has a superpower, right? What a different way or a different angle. And so it gives that person the confidence to record a video about something that other people have said a lot of things about in a different way.
Or yeah, or another idea too is I think a lot of us in our industry are really bad at hooks. And you know, you start a video. Well, let's just say you get to the point where you're willing to press play and start the video, and then you just vomit, hey guys, you vomit, you know, a quick introduction. You lose people right out of the gate. And so I would implore anybody to use ChatGPT to create those hooks. So it's like when you have that topic in your head, and let's just say you're going to talk about, you know, the top 3 reasons to move to Salt Lake City.
Totally.
Ask ChatGPT, give me a good video hook for the top 3 reasons to move to Salt Lake City, or whatever it is your video is going to be about. I mean, even lately, the LLPA. I mean, if you haven't seen a video about that, about the fees and how, you know, they're, you know, obviously I think the media is skewing it a little bit, but how, you know, if you have a lower credit score, you're going to get charged. You're basically going to get subsidized by people with higher credit scores. And there's some truth to it, not total truth to it. But same concept. Ask ChatGPT, write me a hook for X. I think that's another really great use of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you go a little bit even further, maybe, and you talk about if you talk about some of those plus sides in a different light, right? So I think hooks has always been everybody's biggest struggle with videos. I'm the first to admit, like, you even DM'd me several times and been like, hi, Michelle, because that's how I opened my video. Like, hi guys. And you're like, hi, Michelle. And you probably didn't even watch the rest of the video. But that's the reality, right? Is I'm no different than everybody else trying to rip the Band-Aid off and produce content. But I think when it comes to where the other opportunities might be, it's how can I sharpen something I'm already really good at, right? So, or iron sharpens iron, right? So maybe you can type in the ChatGPT, hey, what's the best way for me to blank, and see what it says, right? And see how it comes back out at you. I think one of the ones, I had a client who actually did this. She was like, what's the best example of a Valentine's pop by that other people aren't doing? She like typed that in, right? And this was back a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And she got like 10 different things. And it was really, really cool. Like it even came up with like the catchy like slogan, right? That she could use on the little tag that she tied on her pop buys, right? So she was like, I need a slogan or like a funny rhyme about real estate and wrenches. And you're like, what? And it popped it out, right? So there's opportunity to create
a video script.
No, it was like a tagline for, like, you know, when people give pop buys, they have like the little tags on it that usually says something funny, and then it has like their contact information. So she typed in to ChatGPT, I need a unique slogan around real estate and wrenches. And I'm like, that's a crazy combination, but it spit it out, right? So she was able to make some fun taglines. She did several for Valentine's Day. She actually came up with an idea from ChatGPT for Valentine's Day. So she actually made a reservation at a restaurant for Valentine's Day on Valentine's Day that someone could like win in a raffle, because everybody sucks at remembering to make reservations for that stuff. And most places like require them. So in the raffle, somebody won this reservation to go take their spouse or their person out on Valentine's Day. And she got that idea from ChatGPT, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like, what a cool, unique thing, right? So again, but here's where that comes into play, is that doesn't take my client out of the experience with the person that won it, right? It doesn't replace her being the one to talk to the person that won that. It just came up with, again, the springboard to the idea, which I think is super valuable.
Yeah. Pretty fascinating. Yeah. I mean, and there's so many ways to use it. And I think now it gets to that point where if you are stuck with anything, your brain is stuck. ChatGPT is kind of like the new Google. It does make way more efficient. I've been doing, and this could be used in a variety of ways, but if you're, let's just say you're creating a presentation for a first-time homebuyer seminar, and you need some ideas, some slide decks and that sort of thing, that's where you would ask ChatGPT. I mean, I do this for my own presentations when I speak, and I historically, like last year, I went to Google and I would type in phrases, and then I would read a bunch of articles, and it would take hours of research. Now I can ask that exact same question to ChatGPT in a variety of ways, and it'll summarize what took me hours in probably less than 60 seconds. And it's, so there is that efficiency. Now, I believe, Michelle, that, and I did this, when I did this in January, because ChatGPT was relatively new, I went and double checked everything, but it was spot on. It was spot on to the article. So I did do the extra work, but I do believe that most of us, if you're doing research for something that you're going to present on, I think you should probably do some additional homework just to double check the facts, double check what it's giving you. But in some cases, like taglines, for example, that's just sparking creativity.
Yeah. And if anything, it's like motivating, because you're like, how did I not come up with that? And then it gets, I don't know if this happens to you, but it definitely happens to me and a lot of people that I know, right? But like, you get in the shower and you're like, oh my gosh, I got it.
Yeah.
Like I got the thing I needed to say, or I got that one, like, oh my gosh, I can't forget to put that in the email. And you kind of have this like light bulb moment that goes off. And I think ChatGPT can help us find that in certain cases when we're struggling, or like, I write for Inman, and sometimes I got to tell you, writing the freaking first sentence drives me bonkers.
Yeah.
It's like, once I get past the first sentence, I'm like, game over, I got it. But it's like that. Why is that first sentence so damn hard sometimes?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I need an opening sentence about this, and then my brain can go into creative mode and write what I need to write.
Yeah.
So
creativity tends to find us at the most inopportune times.
Yeah, precisely. You're like, I'm at my kid's gymnastics class right now. What the hell?
Yeah. For me, it's running. It's running or driving, typically. Sometimes shower, but those are the three. And and always the most inopportune times.
Yep. And again, I think like the number one thing, I just want to like full circle moment. The number one place, in my opinion, for ChatGPT, AI software, all of it as a whole, where the opportunity really lies, is springboarding ideas. That's it. That's where it belongs. That is what's designed to help us like rip the Band-Aid off and post it, in my opinion. On the flip side, the negative aspect of it is it cannot and should not ever replace passion that somebody has for what they do, meaning it should never write your copy for you as a whole, and it should never, ever, ever engage on your behalf, ever.
You're saying if and when that does come. I'm not sure if it's here yet.
I think people are using it to write captions all the time.
Oh, captions. Yeah. I meant the engagement part.
I think people are using autoresponders in their DMs every day.
Yeah. That's been around for a while. Bots. Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah. But at what point is somebody going to figure out I'm doing the itsy bitsy spider. I'm such a mom. Oh my gosh. But at what point is somebody going to create a software where it can respond to, if you get a story reply and someone says, oh my gosh, what a great looking latte, that person can respond, or that AI software can respond on your behalf. Like, I don't think that, I guarantee you that there's probably somebody's out there right now sitting, working on something like that.
And they're thinking of things that we're not even thinking of.
Yeah. And how in the world is that good for me when I'm the one that has to actually get on the phone and sell them something? Like, it's not.
Yeah. 100%. Totally agree. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you want to cover in this webinar?
No, I think that the good, the bad, the ugly, I think you got to state the obvious. Like it's the new neighbor, right?
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere. People are trying to figure out how to make it work for them. And I think there's going to be lots of different conversations around this for a year to come. But I think you're starting to see more and more people that are pushing back for good reasons, not pushing back in a negative way, but like, you know, for me, for example, like doing this webinar, like I wanted to push back on some of everyone and their mom deciding to come up with an AI software to produce. And I mean, even Austin Armstrong, right? Like he's somebody who I had never met in real life. I'd known of him. We got to meet in real life and actually break bread and have a drink together at the end of SocialCon. And like, what an incredible opportunity for Austin and I to talk in real life, two people that are doing really, really big things in our respective fields.
Yeah.
And he made a comment to me, and Jeff, you were sitting right next to me. He made a comment and he said, like, Michelle, what do you think I could have done better? Like in my presentation, like, what do you think I could have done better? But before he said that, he said, Michelle, I just want to say thank you for pushing back on what I said, right? Thank you for being the person to make me think differently. And I was like, dude, like somebody's got to be that person, right? And I just happen to be passionate about being that person. But again, Austin, like, you know, anybody who watched SocialCon or watched the recording, or if you were there in real life, or even have seen Austin anywhere, like there's a lot of stuff that he says that is wildly valuable and so helpful.
Yeah.
But again, how does Austin get better? How do I get better on my end? And how do you get better, Jeff, like on what you're doing? It's by having someone stand up and say, like, let's talk about this a little bit deeper and figure out, like, what am I missing on both sides? Like, I want to see from your point of view. I want to see from, you know, your point of view, and then find somewhere that makes sense for you.
Totally agree. Here's the last thing I will say about it is that I do not believe that anytime soon that AI is going to replace humans, but I do believe that those that don't embrace AI will go obsolete. They will be replaced by the humans that embrace AI. Because
And
they're going to be able to work faster. They're going to be able to work faster. They're going to be able to create more. I don't think it's going to replace humans, but I think that if you don't embrace it, just like we can say about social media, you say about computers and cell phones, like all of these things that have come around, AI is that new piece of technology, like a radio was 70 years ago. That's what it is. And I think now if you don't embrace it, you're just going to find a steeper hill. I do believe that. And I'm raising my hand as somebody that is I'm not using it day in and day out. I'm very familiar with it and I'm playing around with it. I'm not using it as much, but I do believe that if you don't, you're going to go, I think you're going to go obsolete. That's what I think.
I gotta push back because I don't necessarily agree. Because here's an example, like, I was at a conference that I spoke at in March for somebody in the mortgage industry, and it was an incredible 3 days, right? I spoke on the third day. There was a speaker on the second day. And right as soon as she stood up in front of the room, the very first thing she said was, my presentation, everything on every single slide you see here was created by AI. Even down to the pictures, like I just typed in, I need a presentation about X, and it spit out 15 slides, and she had given like a handful of bullet points that needed to be featured. I'm not going to name any names because it's irrelevant, but what I can tell you is that if you sat in the room of people that I sat in, I was in the audience, I experienced her presentation from the audience point of view, intentionally, right? And I'm sitting in a room full of $50 million a year or more mortgage professionals. 3/4 of the room was like, what does that slide have to do with what she's talking about? Like, it wasn't correlated, or like the photos that were on the slides were so far from what she was talking about and had really no presence or no intentional meaning, if you will, behind what she was saying. So the litmus test again in the audience was, we just want to hear her talk, and like, why is there a phoenix on her slide? Right? So you have this like really weird disconnect in some cases, right? I've seen decent presentations on the other side, but you're telling me, Jeff, or you're saying that you believe that if you don't embrace AI, there's the potential that you get left behind, right? every presentation I have ever made, and the one I made for earlier today, like that was made by me. Those were my thoughts. Those were my bullet points. That was my information. So when I spoke it and when I said it, it just oozed out of me, right? I don't believe that that is replaceable by an AI software. If I type into AI, say, can you, or anything, if I, hey, make me a seven slides about Instagram DM engagement. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I think that's a unique example. Also an example where that's too aggressive in today's world. It's not there yet. And I'm not saying to replace some of the human elements like speaking, because their speaking has so many authentic elements to it that obviously that can't necessarily be that way. I'm just saying that, again, if you turn a blind eye to this, which a lot of people will and are, there's a lot of positions in the world as it relates to jobs that will get replaced because a robot will do it more efficiently. And honestly, real estate agents is one of them. You know, there's a lot of elements to our jobs, including mortgage professionals, that a computer, a robot will be more efficient, will be faster, will be more reliable, will be more accessible and than us. And so if you don't embrace it at some level, but then mix it with that authenticity, that's the thing. Because believe me, I'm anti-robots. Like that's where I win, because I'm an authentic human being and I display that on social and I connect with people. That's the element that I'm not saying AI is going to completely replace, but I think there's going to be an element of, so for me, I'll just use myself as an example, and there's probably a million different examples, but in my world where I'm a content creator and I'm a social coach and I'm doing all of these things for my business, somebody is going to run parallel to me, and there already are. And somebody who embraces AI is probably going to position themselves to now massively outproduce me because they're using some of the efficiencies to help them create more at mass. And now they're going to get out ahead of me. And so I think that's what I mean by that is there's got to be various elements of embracing in your business, not replacing, but embracing and elements you got to find. Where can it's like scaling your business. Where do I need to hire somebody to replace the things I don't like doing or the things I'm not good at? Right. And that's what I mean. And I think that's going to be what AI is. AI is going to basically be like an assistant in the coming years. And now I'm alone. Michelle just got herself off camera. So with that, I will stop my rant. Michelle, I'm assuming you are probably dealing with a small child, and that's okay because that makes you human. Jennifer, Tina, those of you that are on Zoom, thank you for being here today. If you're on the Facebook, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I know there's a lot of opinions as it relates to AI. I would love to hear your thoughts. Put them in the comments, whether you think good, bad, indifferent. If you think any of the statements that we made today are totally off base or totally on base, I would love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget that if you want to get super immersive and super deep on Instagram and use Instagram to grow your business, that's exactly what Michelle does with the Instagram Power Method. And she teaches it. She coaches it. You absolutely need to check her out. She's back. I'll let her give herself a commercial. Michelle, I just ended us. But if you can quickly let people know how they can connect with you, what's the best place to get connected to you if they want to get into your world?
My COO Tiffany is standing right next to me, and we're just dying laughing because we're like, "Bye, internet. Hi, internet."
Hi,
Tiffany.
Tiffany.
There you go. Hi, Jeff. She's right here. There she is. Ish. There's her hand. Real quick. So, easiest, best way to get a hold of me, honestly, 100% Instagram. I love connecting with you guys offline. I get so many messages from people that are just like, thanks for this or thanks for that. And that's my favorite thing to do. I just love like speaking into people. So Berman Media Social on Instagram is definitely the best way to get a hold of me. Other than that, as far as like things we have coming up, anyone watching either live or on the recording, I will be at Woman Up, which is one of the biggest all-female realtor conferences coming up in June in Oceanside. And I think that it's a place where if you're a female in the real estate industry, you need to be.
Awesome. Thank you again, Michelle. As always, it's fun to wrap with you, and I will see you next month.
Yes, sir. Can't wait.